Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. I'm messing around. I'm messing around with this new light thing. It's like it's not for your face. It's for like the background, but it's really hard to get it. I don't know, to get it to work. But hey, Pointer Lover. Hey, Shabane. Thank you, Sunset Gazing, for gifting those memberships. Thank you so much. Hey, Yvette. Hey, Truth Teller. Hey, Deb and PA. Chris Melcher. Hey, Queen Olive. Hey, Cement Shoes, Minnie Mo, Ann. Hey, Susan. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Amber. Hey, True Crumb Crazy. K Braze, Hoping for Answers. Petunia. Sweet Melissa. I think I said Carol Claus, but if not, and Shay too. See, my brain is all over the place. Hey, Jenna. Thank you, Melissa Jade, for the Jade Raid. Yeah, let me bring Jenn Lu up because she's here and we have a lot to talk about. Hey, Jen.
Hey, babe. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm okay.
I'm a little tired. I'm anxious today.
Me too. Today was a lot.
It was. Hey, Turtle Girl. So I guess I got a lot of clips for us to look at, a lot of things to talk about. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually it's here. And we'll get into it. I don't know.
Hi, everybody in chat, by the way. Hello. Good to see everybody here.
So today, well, we did have a moment before Harley testified. That's mainly what we're going to talk about and discuss. But before she testified, we had that juror was excused, which is kind of interesting. And then a doctor came in for a moment without the jury in there. The judge told Leticia basically he will bolt her ass to the table.
That was my favorite part. I screamed from beginning to end for him to get the bolt. Just out of an abundance of caution, Your Honor, just get the bolt. Fetch the bolt.
I'd like to see her strapped down and rolled in there and made to sit in there like that. But
I think she should have to wear the full Hannibal Lecter get up. Hey, the mask, the whole thing.
Erica says, I don't know what to think about Miss Harley. I'd be confused as heck. I think that a lot of us are like that. Okay, so she wore blue, which was kind of interesting, I thought that was sweet. Not long after she took the stand, we heard that she actually just recently found out how her dad passed away.
Yeah, that was a little bit, that was shocking. Okay. It was shocking, but not shocking at the same time. Only because why would that be something Leticia would be honest about? She isn't honest about anything else. Her whole damn life is a lie. So.
I know, but I just like finding out on the internet. I got a clip of that from Icked Mel's. Let me play it really fast because I think I've got them all in order of what we're going to talk about. So hopefully, but you know how Facebook does me. It will be all out of order. And can you guys drop Icked Mel's link pretty please? Because that is where I took this clip from. He has really good views of he gets the people really big. So when something happens and I want to clip it, often I'll go over there to do it because even though because
Icked Mel knows how to work WebEx and your girl Jenn Lu does not, and that was today.
We should learn.
I need to learn.
Yeah, I'll do it with you because I got a WebEx too, and we could do StreamYard meeting or something and do it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's see.
Tisha.
And the other thing too that was crazy, I kind of didn't catch it earlier, but that she didn't really know how her father died until a week ago. So somebody's clip.
Do you know how your dad passed away?
Yes.
How did he die?
An overdose.
And when did you first learn that?
This past week.
What were you told how he died before?
that someone came in and robbed him and killed him.
Right. Mr. Young told you that.
Sure, thanks.
My mom.
What a biatch.
I believe there's a stipulation.
T-shirt.
Okay, sorry. I'm so confused with I'm like, what am I doing? I can't get back to it. So let me do. There we go. I cannot believe that. I'm sorry. I have thoughts on certain things that she said, but I do have a lot of sympathy for Harley, because can you imagine being manipulated by this monster your entire life?
No.
Me neither. But I still feel for her, although I give the side eye about that. Yeah, I know.
Well, let me say this. On some level, I can relate. Not my mom. And that's all I'm going to say. But I will say this also. For Harley, she does, there is hope for her, because the sooner you get away, the better. And I got away at 17, and she got away at 17. So if she wants to, she can fix it. It's not too, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, so this is at the top of the list anyways. I have some thoughts. I think that she is a victim in this. I really do. However, when she comes in and she's starting to talk about that night, and we're like, we're talking about things as they happen in court, but Harley starts to talk about January 26th and January 27th. And she says a couple things about, remember, she says, she wanted to sleep upstairs. It was really cold downstairs and it stunk. And then she said there was a weird vibe, like she was scared. And Leticia, because her mom was saying things like, I hope Gannon's okay, or Gannon's acting weird. And to me, if at that point she was already feeling like that, I think she had to know. I just think she didn't know what to do about it. She felt like she was scared of Leticia. I think she did, though. Maybe even if it wasn't 100% consciously, I think that she knew.
Well, you know how, like, but you don't want to do any further investigating because you don't really want to know. I kind of think that's how she was. Do you know what I mean? Like, she had that gut feeling, she had the intuition, she was, but I don't think she really wanted, I don't really think she wanted to know for sure. In fact, she waited for a long, long time. She was on her mom's side up until like this last November. And I'm talking about November of 2022.
I know. I could not believe when she said that. I was completely shocked. So let's see. Also, then she talks about the night, the 26th, that they all went downstairs because they were going to tell Gannon goodnight, and that Gannon didn't respond.
Which was another weird element too, because Leticia made it a point to say, let's go say goodnight to Gannon, which isn't something that she did. Leticia. So this is my thoughts on it. I'm just going to say it how it is. I think that this is what I think happened that night. Okay. I think that initially when they got home from the hike and Gannon had his accent, I think she wailed on that kid. That's what I think she did. I think she wailed on him. Yep. And I think that she then recorded that video as some type of evidence. And then I think through the night, she continued to check on him. And I think she realized that this wasn't something that was going to be, you just need to stay home from school and you'll heal kind of a thing. He needed medical intervention. I think she gave him hydrocodone. We don't know how many, because I don't think the hydrocodone bottle was ever found or collected, at least not by the witness that was on today. I feel like if it had been collected, they would have presented that witness, but maybe they're just going out of order for some reason because Harley could testify today, and that's that. But anyway, then I think she gave him a bunch of hydrocodone and she drove him to Petco because she wanted to be caught on camera. That's what I think. I think she wanted to be caught on a Ring camera. I think she wanted to be caught on any traffic cameras. And then I think that she worked on this Eduardo story. That's what I think that she did. I think the candle was nothing else but to hide what she had done in that house before, in the basement. I think that after I looked at those pictures that Criminality Teresa posted or showed on her live and matched them up, and the stain on the subflooring, I think they had, whatever builder grade padding there is. So, and heads it looks like a head wound. It looks like maybe she smashed, hit his head into the floor. That's what I think. I think there was blood. And I think that when they got back from Petco that day, I think she went into that bedroom and she, did the other two. That's what I think happened. I think the candle wax had nothing to do. I don't think that the candle wax was anything other than covered up. And I think she's the one that spilled it.
It was 1,000. I completely agree with you. So in Melissa's, I was telling Shay in chat that there were 2 pieces of carpet. Teresa, if you want to come up, you can. I don't think I can explain it the way she did, and it's in her last live. Let me drop her link. But there was 1 piece of carpet found in the dumpster, and there was 1 piece of carpet found rolled up in the closet. Both of them had blood on them. One had blood with wax on it. Teresa, I think her theory was that she was going to replace the carpet, but didn't realize it went through into the padding. And so that's why the burn came in, right? So you can burn it. That's kind of just what I took from it though. But I still find it, I think that you're dead on with she spilt the candle because there were 2 pieces of carpet. That's the only thing that makes sense. Something happened. She cut the carpet up. She saw that, so she was like, oh, crap, I can burn it and then cut that piece up too and show it burnt and then replace it and nobody will know. You know what I mean? Oh, my God. She's just so evil. And I think you're 100% right. Now, I believe that the medical examiner who testified is obviously a professional, been doing this a long time, knows way more than I do. But I can't help but think, because she said she doesn't necessarily believe that the puncture wounds came before the head wound came after the head wound because he was able to fight back still. I just wonder, is there a chance that he was strong enough, or that, because there's always the exception. And with humans, like even think about like treating cancer, you treat 5 cancer patients completely different because their bodies may do different things. So is it possible that there was some kind of head injury the night before, or did she snap? I don't know. I do think that to me, I'm still leaving it up in the air that maybe that could have been possible and he could have fought back. But I definitely think some sort of injury happened that she knew she could not, cover up or mask as anything else. Criminality. Sorry. Let me drop the link.
I think she may. There's parts that she didn't testify to, and it's not her fault. It's because she wasn't asked. But what I think she most likely based her assessment of the order on is the actual brain itself. And I'm sure that was sent down to pathology, and they took slides of it. But I'm sure that there are there's trauma to that. I think the reason she brought that up is because there is trauma to that brain, to his brain, that you can't be the exception to. It's so egregious that
that's what
could it happen? Yes, but is it likely? See, that's how pathologists work, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. And so I think she felt like it was more reasonable to think it happened one way versus the other.
Yeah, that makes
okay. Here I go. I'm going outside, and I'm going to be by all these glass doors. Y'all pray for me that I don't walk into one of them again. Just kidding. At first, I got to find my dadgum drink.
Teresa had a great question. I got to ask you in the chat. Does anybody think Harley was being dishonest?
Like generally, or at times, or I mean,
I don't know. That's just what her it was just. I think generally.
That's far too open. I need more specifics, Teresa. I feel
More
like this is a
specific.
trap.
Okay, well, I'll just keep going until she writes back. So
Okay.
another part I thought was quite interesting. So she goes on to talk about, searching for Gannon and those kind of things. And then, the police come in and talking to the cops. But at one point, they show a message between her and her mom when the cops are at the house searching. This is when, we heard before from the police that Harley was very talkative, but not about Gannon. This is during that interaction on the 29th, I believe. But she says, tell them you're uncomfortable there with those men. And I'm like, look at you teaching her how to manipulate. And, that's to me all I heard when I heard that. But
yeah. Well, because Leticia was going to later then make it a huge deal. Remember? She was left in the house with the man.
Yeah. Yep.
My child with them men. Fuck off, Leticia. You weren't concerned. You weren't concerned about their gender. You were concerned about what she might say.
Hey, Akasha. Oh, me too, Emily. Yeah, she told her to call 911. You're correct. I forgot about that. Can't believe I didn't even put that in my notes either. She said oh, no, I do have it. If not, you need to call 911 and tell them they're making you stay there. That was but she didn't. And she was asked, why didn't she do that? And she was like, well, because I didn't feel it was necessary. So then, let's see, mom texts work at 4:30. They go to Marshall's. She talks about Marshall's. They ask her how it felt to have the cuffs on her. And she said it felt really bad. I thought that was kind of an interesting question to ask her. Then she talks about that infamous interview. And I thought this was really interesting. The family was trying to talk Leticia out of doing it. And she did it anyways.
Of course she did. Of course they did. And of course she did, because it's Leticia. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Then I got reporter family not a good deed. The interview, waiting in the car. She said that she answered the questions the way she did because she was doing what her mom said. And they asked her, why did you because she asked, well, I don't know what to say. And she says then, because we were told not to talk about the fire. I thought that was so interesting. I was driving at the time and I had the person I was giving a ride write it down in my notebook. I was like, write down this quote. I was told we weren't allowed to talk about the fire. Because why?
Who told her that?
I don't know. I think that was a direct quote. I'm assuming Leticia, but then she talks about her mom going to get dog food and being gone for way too long. And her brother had talked about that same trip. Let's see. Family goes one way. Harley and her mother went the other. Mom telling her sister, so she remembers her mom telling her sister that she was set up, and the video proved Gannon came home. That is why she took that video, for proof of just like those pictures the next morning. Harley, we talked about Harley not sleeping downstairs because it was cold. I 100% think that was intentional. Leticia was keeping it cold for a reason. And that poor baby was down there suffering, already injured, and in the freezing ass cold. It makes me mad.
I think that, I think she did that intentionally. Obviously. I mean, you don't accidentally open up a window, but,
and kept it that way all night, and yeah.
But one part that Harley sort of contradicted herself on, and I'm not exactly sure what to make of it, was whether or not the house smelled. Because she said it smelled clean, but her house always smells clean.
Yeah, but then she said, she did say at one part it stunk so bad she didn't want to sleep down there. But the burning smell.
The thing of it is, if you look at that, carpeting, the what's melted is what the smell is the backing of the carpet. What the carpet's held in with, that's kind of, that's what the smell was. Because let's be honest, it was a candle. And why do people light candles? For the house to smell good. So the candle was scented. So what that smell was, and it was not, in comparison to the size of the room and the size of the spot, that spot was relatively small. Do I think that that's burning plastic? It's not plastic. I forget what it is. I'll ask my husband in a minute when I go in, but I feel like
the foam under the carpet or whatever.
Not the foam, the underside of a carpet.
Right.
Hold on. Let me ask him what that's called. Hold on. Give me just a second.
Okay. Let me see here. Also, another part, Harley mentions her mom backhanded. She said that her mom would backhand her in the face if, she raised too much hell, basically. I got backhanded in the face one time as a kid. I was being a smart ass, and I deserved it, and I got smacked right in the mouth. So,
okay, I consulted my expert witness, and he said that it's most of them are made of nylon, and that's what you're smelling. That would smell. I mean, it will melt, but but you can there's all kinds of tricks to get wax out of carpet. Ice is one of them to harden it. But at the end of the day, I don't think that it smelled the way I don't think it was that big of a that disgusting of a smell. Now I will tell you guys this. When we moved into the house we just moved out of 2 years ago, Mac got a hair up his butt, and he thought that it would be a good idea to jump from the bed to the high boy. Okay. It wasn't that it was that big of a distance. It's just that Mac is really clumsy. And sitting on top of that high boy was a bottle of cologne that my husband got for Christmas, not from me. I can't even remember where he got it, but he never liked it. And I was unpacking stuff, and I was going to put it in the bathroom, but I had it set up there. And when he jumped, he missed, and he knocked that cologne to the ground. Now that permeated that bedroom. I had to get the steam mop out because it got on the grout, and I wasn't sure if the grout was sealed or not. It was a whole big to-do. And that did smell up the house. Not the whole house, though, just that room. Like you couldn't smell it when you walked in.
With a cologne or something like that. Super strong.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry.
So I find it hard. Sorry.
No, you finished.
I find it hard to believe that the smell was that overpowering, especially if she used baking soda, for Pete's sake.
Well, she also used vinegar to clean, which has an odor, but it kind of dissipates pretty quickly. But thank you, Jerry. Jerry says, you guys have been doing an awesome job. I cannot believe this POS flipped the bird again today. It's not an easy case to cover. So much kudos. Thank you so much. And, I'm questioning that about today. The pictures I've seen, I can't tell if it's the bird or the pointer finger. I know some look like it could be the middle finger, but I'm really questioning that. I hope they have clearer pictures. And if she was, I hope the judge gets her ass this time because, yeah.
Well, Melissa, I read what Melissa wrote, and here's the deal. We don't know that because she said there's blankets.
Right.
We don't know that happened, when that happened, or if it happened in that basement, or if it happened later on down the road. Leticia had a lot of time on her hands to manipulate the scene. I thought the most telling testimony from Harley today was the fact that she said her mother told her that she threw blankets on top of Gannon and she had to keep jumping on him. That was incredibly telling.
That I completely agree. I caught that too. I thought that was really interesting. Well, Melissa, let me know which video you mean. And then I do have a video that goes in line with these notes so about the smell and stuff. The prosecutor asked, at the hotel when Gannon's body was dumped, did you sleep? They slept in the same bed that night, but apparently Harley says she's a very heavy sleeper and never noticed her getting out of bed or anything. She also said she never got clothes out of the back and she never smelled anything. Let me grab that clip real fast.
Which I found that to be interesting because they're essentially driving across the country. Okay. And never showering.
I know.
They left on the 1st And when did they get to Florida? What, the 2nd or 3rd of February?
Wasn't it the 4th when they checked in that hotel?
The 4th. Okay. So they didn't shower for 3 days. And I don't know where they were showering on the 1st. Look, I forget where I saw another picture of Leticia, but this is when she was like free. And she still had a rat's nest going on in the back of her hair, the back of her head. Like she just isn't a bather.
Right.
I don't know.
Ugh. I feel gross if I don't every day. I wash my hair every other day, but I need a shower daily. Teresa says, I can't understand how she only learned of the overdose last week, especially if she was paying attention. I know. That's quite interesting. Someone left a comment that said, do you think she lied to her about it to protect her? And if that was the case, why would she tell her that he was murdered?
Right. That's worse.
Yeah. Let her have nightmares about whatever,
Yeah.
I think this is the one that I'm.
Up until this point, had you ever gone to the back of that van? Back.
No.
At any of the stops up to this point, had you gotten any change of clothes or gotten any suitcases out of the back of the van?
No.
At any point during this trip to Pensacola, did you smell anything in the back of that van?
No.
Do you know why I'm asking you if you smelled anything in the back of that van?
Yes.
Why?
Because Gannon was back there.
That's so
How do you know
crazy.
Gannon was back there?
Because you guys told me that there was evidence that he was back there.
Did you lay your body was found in Pensacola, Florida on
Yes.
March 17th? Up until this point, had you ever gone to the back of that van?
Allie, did I lose you? Allie,
Damn
can
it,
you hear
I've
me?
been
Oh, yeah,
talking
there
while
we
I was
go.
muted.
I was like, I couldn't figure out. I was like, did I lose her? What's happening?
I don't even know what I was talking for the last 5 minutes, so I don't know. But Melissa just sent these. The first one don't have sound. Let's see what this one has. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does look like her middle finger. Okay, can you hear me, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
Where the heck
Yes,
did my window go? Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, let me see my notes. Then they talk about, they booked a hotel in Orlando for 5 days, when to leave early. Then let me get your reaction to this next clip. We're pretty much just going through these clips now.
Yes.
Miss Son, I want to ask you a direct question, okay?
Okay.
Did you help your mother throw that suitcase over a bridge in Pensacola, Florida
No, I did not.
on February 4th, 2020?
No, I did not.
There I go, muted again. But yeah, she said when he was found in Florida, she wanted to believe it was a coincidence. Which I thought that's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess if you're a kid and you're trying to believe your mom and believe, I think she was being mostly truthful. I really do. I just think some of it sounds so crazy, looking at it now.
Yeah. I'm not saying there would not be any smell. There would be an odor for sure. I just think that as far as the burn goes, I just don't think it would be as huge as Leticia is trying to make it. That's all.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's just like the smell on the way there. Why? How wouldn't they smell it? But I guess there are circumstances that kind of could explain it away in both cases. I think so. It's kind of, we don't really know. One of the cops didn't smell anything. One smelled a lot. So I think it depends on the person too. Okay, so yeah, I was really shocked that she believed her mom up until November, and she went up there and found out what the not guilty by reason of insanity. Now, they really said that they talked to her about charging her. And, the accessory charges, she said she did it because it was the right thing to do. But this clip right here, I sent this to Jenn as soon as it happened. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Because she sounds like a little, I'm sorry, I have to remember. I know she's very young. Your brain's not even developed yet, but you got to remember who raised her. And does she naturally almost seem like a little bit of Leticia came through in this to me?
I'll say this. I'll say the part of her testimony where I saw Leticia come through was when she was questioned about the GoFundMe. That's when I saw little Leticia come through.
That was really interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed a couple things on that. I tried to search GoFundMe for her GoFundMe while she was still on the stand because I know I've seen it. But I think I probably have the link in a folder somewhere, but I couldn't find it just by the regular search. But listen to the way she answers this. Oh, shoot.
So do you now know that you cannot be charged with that crime?
Yes.
Why?
Because you guys believed me. I was being honest.
Have you heard anything called the statute of limitations?
Believe me. I was being, yes.
Do you now know that you cannot be charged with that crime?
Yes.
Why?
Because you guys believed me. I was being honest.
Have you heard anything called the statute of limitations?
Believe me. I was being, yes.
Do you now know that you cannot be charged?
So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting the way she said, because you guys believe me. I mean, because I was being honest. And he was actually talking about, a deadline of when he could charge her.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
They did talk about like Harley growing up with her mom and her life. And there was a couple things that kind of stopped me for a minute that they talked about. Thank you, Alpha. Does anyone know what or how Al feels about Harley? I really wonder how he feels after today's testimony. Me too. And I have a clip I'm going to show you, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the GoFundMe part, because I always knew on her GoFundMe where she said, I lost both my parents recently, I assumed she was talking about Al, and so today she said, yeah, that's what she was talking about. So I thought that was really interesting. So did you hear, Jenn, so then her lawyer comes up to do cross, and he starts asking about, did you guys have any safe words and safe places and that kind of stuff? And she says they did have a safe word. She said her mom would say her middle name, and then she would know it was her mom talking to her. That I was like, I need to re-listen to this part, because then she said they had a safe place, which, that's not as interesting to me. But with all the DID talk and stuff, I do find that kind of interesting. Well, I think that, just like Harley gets on the stand and says her mom had no mental health issues, and then we find out about these self-harm attempts and stuff.
I'm going to have to re-listen to that part of the testimony, because the way that I interpreted it was this. I cannot remember what it was that I watched, but they talked about having a code word with your kids, so that if you ask them a specific question, it's almost like, your secret question that they ask you for like a security check on like your phone or your computer or whatever,
right?
Like that. And I thought that's what they were talking about. And I had one with my daughters. So I did not immediately tie that into anything pertaining to the DID. Now, as far as the self-harm attempts, I I find this. I find a couple. I find the one story about her mom saying that telling her it was going to be the last dinner that she and Harley had, that it's too late, she's already taken them, and then she got up the next morning as if nothing had happened. I found that less. I don't find that as a link between that incident and her switching personalities.
No,
I find that to be, to me, it sounds like emotional terrorism. And again, I've never, do I think that Leticia Stout has mental health issues? Yeah, but what I don't think is that she suffers from DID, A, and B, I do not think that she was insane under the law at the time that the crime committed. Because remember, this stuff with Gannon there's lots of time in between when it started on Sunday and when it ended on Monday afternoon. That is a lot of hours. In fact, they went to bed. There was sleep in between.
Yeah.
So
it's awful. Okay. Well, this lines up with kind of what you're saying about her mental health and all of that stuff. This part right here, I mean, I keep thinking that like there's nothing else that she could do to shock me more or like to make me more like, oh, you evil hussy. But Leticia, she keeps surprising me. She's like, oh no, I got more in me. Let me show you.
Oh no, hold my beer. That's Leticia.
Yeah, hold my beer.
For your mom?
Yes.
That you actually had to crack her code on her phone to see where
Yes.
she was, and she was in the hospital.
Yes.
She was in the hospital for mental issues.
I was told she was in a hospital for like cancer and stuff. I don't know. I've been told so many things.
Okay. Well, you had for your mom?
Yes.
That you actually had to crack her code on her phone to see where
Yes.
she was, and she was in the hospital.
Yes.
She was in the hospital for mental issues.
I was told she was in a hospital for like cancer and stuff. I don't know. I've been told so many things.
My God. That just, it makes me so mad. You hear her voice crack. I do believe her there. I feel for her.
I believe her. And I also want to, yes, Crime Curious. I thought that was rather interesting as well, that Leticia told Harley that she was afraid of Gannon. Uh-huh.
Hey, Jody. Hey, Glenjamin. You guys, let me drop I dropped Jenn Lu's link. I'm going to drop it again. And some other links of people covering this and Valo that are down in the chat. My friends, let me see. I got to drop them real quick.
I don't care what anybody says. I think that the description on Allie's channel on Nightbot for my channel is hands down has got to be the best description ever. I love it.
I love it too. It's so funny. The most flexible girl in true crime or something like that. I believe her too. And where'd it go? And feel very bad for her. Imagine having Leticia as a mother. Yeah, I could not imagine. Let's see. Really focusing on her possible charges. This. Now, I was surprised at the way the Cross talked to her. I don't know why, because I knew it was going that way, but I still was.
I thought they were going to go harder at her, to be honest with you. And really? I think I do. And I think that he may have glanced over at the jury and taken a cue from them. And I think he backed off. That's what I think. I thought he was going to go a little harder at her. Mm-hmm.
Let me see what this one I think is the next one.
And fourth to nursing school.
Yes.
Listen to this.
And so in January of 2023, you set up a GoFundMe page.
Yes.
And on that GoFundMe page, you say, "Hi, my name is Harley. For those of you who don't know my story,
can you pause?
I
Can
lost
you
both
just
my
pause it
parents
really
a few
quick?
years ago when I was 17
Allie, just
years
real
old."
quick, please. I just have to comment here, just because every time I hear it, it bothers me. The way that he says, "Hi." Hi, it's just annoying. Sorry, because he's trying to imitate her voice. Also, before I forget, because we didn't talk about this yet, but when the prosecutor asked her about bath salts, and she said, "Yeah, you put them in your bath." And he came back with, "You ask a stupid question, you get, well," you know, that I was like, did you just low key call her stupid? Well, her answer, stupid. Okay. That was so weird to me.
Me too. But in that moment, I was like, does he not realize that they're like, I don't know. That caught me off guard. I'm like, does the prosecutor not understand what bath salts are, or is he just, I don't know. Because the way he kind of was like, she's like, yeah, they go in your bath. And he's like, well, duh. Huh? Dumb question. I don't know. That's just kind of what.
Yeah, because but that's because the answer he was trying to elicit was not
right.
That's why he said what he said. He knows what it meant, but he was trying to get her to talk about the other kind of bath salts. And so he felt, because
didn't go into that then more a little bit, because it kind of like threw me off for a minute if he did know or not. I think you're right, actually. I just wonder why
that's why he said ask a stupid question, because I think he's not believing. This was a dig at Harley, because I don't think he believed her answer. I think he knew. I think he thought that Harley knew exactly what he was talking about, and he was irritated by her saying that they go in the bathtub. That's why. That's what I think happened.
Okay.
That's what I think. Who knows? I don't know. But low key, he called her answer dumb. So I just thought that was a weird way to play it. I don't think that you want to refer to your the person who's testifying for you as their answer being dumb in front of the jury on a mic. Maybe at the bar afterwards you say that, or
let me ask
not.
You okay, so she testified for prosecution today. We know she's on the defense list too. Now, I don't know, because I know that when like the defense goes up to do cross-exam, they can only ask like inside the scope of what she was asked about. So will they call her again and ask what they want?
Yeah, they could.
Okay, interesting. Easily distracted. Harley's just like, Leticia, that's interesting. I think I haven't seen many opinions like that, but yeah, thank you for sharing.
The person I'm curious about potentially testifying is Miss Lena. And the reason why, and I know that it would be a very, very dicey move by the prosecution. However, they can somewhat control it by the questions that they ask. So if, like, I would ask, because there was so when Harley is driving around Monday looking for Gannon, Lena is not with her. Lena is with Leticia, and Leticia doesn't budge. They knocked on like one door, and then Leticia stayed at the house, just in case Gannon came home. Okay. Which that's not unreasonable, but knowing what we know, it's just like I'm eye rolling my eye. But there was a lot of time that Lena was alone with Leticia, and if they kept the scope of the questions limited to just her behavior and how she was acting or what she was doing while they waited for Gannon, if she knows, she may not know. They might, it's very possible Leticia, made her go be upstairs or whatever, is not to freak her out. But then when she goes to Starbucks, she does kind of say that Lena's kind of freaked out by the whole thing. She doesn't know all the things, but she is a little freaked out. So anyway.
Melissa had told me this, and I think I said, I know I did, mentioned it to Teresa. She says, I think they'll do a similar setup with Lena, what they did with Burke Ramsey, questioned outside the courtroom and then played for the jury. I think that's interesting only because it's also Colorado. And oftentimes we do see them do things in similar ways, in the same state. So I don't know. Do you think Landon will testify? I've thought about it, Mars. I'm not sure. I mean, I think she possibly, I think she would have already maybe to talk about like knowing her before. But what do you think, Jen?
I think the most powerful testimony that Landon could give would be at the end of the states. If I were them, because they haven't called her yet, I would at the close of the case, put her up there to talk about Gannon and who Gannon was. That's what I would use her for. That's what I would have. Not use her. I shouldn't say that. That's such.
Right.
Sorry, you guys. My brain is not firing on all of its synapses. That is what that is what I would want her to testify about. The last thing that I would have the jury hear from my case in chief would be to hear about the victim, because let's be honest, we haven't heard that much about Gannon.
Right.
In fact, the prosecution didn't ask a whole lot of questions about Gannon. I don't expect the defense to, but I you know.
Right. All right. Someone got Crime Curious got a notification for the roast. So I'm going to play this because I just have a few more of like the biggest parts.
We can be a little bit late. There's not going to be a roast without Allie and Jen. So,
well, we're almost done too.
It's not a big deal. I need a cig anyway, so I'm out here having a cig. So we're all just going to we're not going to put too much pressure. You do what you got to do. Head
over there together. All right.
Exactly.
Get back and forth to nursing school.
Yes.
Now this one you get.
And so in January of 2023, you set up a GoFundMe page.
Yes.
And on that GoFundMe page, you say, "Hi, my name is Harley. For those of you who don't know my story, I lost both my parents a few years ago when I was 17 years old." That statement seems to imply that both your parents died when you were 17.
I don't think it does, no.
Okay. Well, your dad had died a long time before that.
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't lose your mom. Your mom was just in prison, in jail in Colorado.
Unmute, Allie.
I don't think it does, no.
Okay. Well, your dad had died a long time before that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And you didn't lose your mom.
Watch
Your mom was
Al,
just in
though.
prison, in jail in Colorado.
I lost her.
Okay. But you don't think that that's at all misleading to get people to give you money?
Nope, it was for my friends and family so they could have like a source to send it to me.
You're likely to get more money from people if they thought your mom was dead as opposed to your mom.
Play dirty.
No.
You also put in there that you've been having to provide for yourself a place to stay, transportation, and the college and the necessities of everyday livelihood.
Yes.
But you said that your aunt, up until just before that, had provided you a car to get back and forth to nursing school.
Yes.
And so in January of 2023,
the one where Al,
you set up a GoFundMe.
There is one coming up where she mentions Al, and he has a slight reaction I thought was kind of interesting. Let me see. So yeah, you have any thoughts on that clip? And then I'll grab the next one, which is I think right after.
Well, I'll tell you, for me personally, her GoFundMe campaign can be perceived both ways. She could be saying, because there were times during her testimony that she referred to her parents and she was talking about Al and Leticia. So it could be that way as well. You could interpret it that way. You could also interpret it the way that the defense attorney is saying. And so I feel like, let this be a lesson to all. You never know when you're going to be called into a courtroom and your GoFundMe may be on display, should you have one. So make sure that your campaign paragraph or introduction or whatever the heck GoFundMe calls it is very specific. That way there's no room for interpretation and a defense attorney can't do what this one just did.
Right.
Follow me for more tips.
You guys, Al's right here. If you see the prosecutor here, behind him, the bald guy, over to the left, the next row, I think he's one row behind this bald guy right here.
Her code on her phone to see where she was.
Wait, wrong way. I swear, I thought I grabbed the one where she says, I lost my dad too, and she's crying, talking about her stepdad, and Al looks over beside him when she says that. Let me see.
I will say, well, Allie looks for that part that's the part that I was talking about when I saw Leticia come out because she is crying, right? And he tells her where the tissues are, and then he asks her if she is okay, and it's like a 180.
Yeah.
The cry is off, and I did feel, and I'm not saying that she is guilty of anything or that she's a bad person. I mean, the fact of the matter is Leticia Stout is the one who raised her. And I think all of us women in here will agree that there are traits of our moms as we were growing up that we're like, I'm never going to be like my mom. I'm not going to do this, that, or the third, right? And then all of a sudden you find yourself doing this, that, or the third.
Right.
You know? So it happens.
Let me see. I'm going to try to find it in this because I didn't get it over here. Yeah. And then the only other clip I have, actually, I'll play it while I do this. It's just like the last part, but this is back to the prosecution. I thought this was an interesting.
That demon power.
Is that easy for you to say?
No.
Sad.
You still love your mother?
Oh,
I'll strike that, Your Honor. I have no.
Why did he do that? Like strike it after he said that?
I think he was asking a question he didn't know the answer to. And if she had, just hear me out, you guys, because I'm thinking like the prosecutor, not like Jenn Lu, okay? Although it is my brain. But if I had to guess, I feel like if she had said yes, I think that the jury would have had a small amount of sympathy for Leticia. And I don't think that he wanted that. And I think that's why he stopped it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But also when he struck it, she doesn't have to answer. And that way, if she had answered, there's no good answer to get that. If she had said yes, I think that there would have been some sympathy from the jurors, and that maybe there's a part of Leticia that might still be redeemable, right? But on the other flip side, right, if she had said no, then I think that the jury would have been like, I think a jury would understand more if she had said yes than if she had said no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh man. Yeah, I noticed that too, Nicole. As soon as she got up there and they asked, "Do you recognize this person?" and it was Gannon, her voice broke. And it's tough. Okay. Do you remember, wasn't it like towards the end of the cross where he starts asking about the GoFundMe?
Yes, it's towards the end of the cross.
Okay. Let's see. I think it's right here.
Whether or not they're going to charge you with accessory to first degree murder.
Yes.
That's the defense.
And at that point in time, you'd already.
Right here.
You're going the right way.
It's just
No,
the
no.
other guy in the defense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going right. You're doing right.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. And then that next Tuesday is when Al comes back home. Right.
Yes.
That's at all misleading to get people to give you money.
No, it was for my friends and family so they could
Here
have.
we go.
I don't think it does, no.
I'm just going to play this whole
GoFundMe
part
page.
and then
Yes.
we'll be done.
Okay.
You back and forth to nursing school. Okay, you live with Dee Dee.
Yes.
Okay. You were also getting financial support from Aunt Brenda.
Yes.
And Brenda had bought you a car.
Yes.
And then she took that car away from you guys because you guys had a disagreement.
Yes.
And it was difficult for you to get back and forth to nursing school.
Yes.
And so in January of 2023, you set up a GoFundMe page.
Yes.
And on that GoFundMe page, you say, "Hi, my name is Harley.
Hi.
For those of you who don't know my story, I lost both my parents a few years ago when I was 17 years old.
Their angle's different than Ick and Mel's.
That statement seems to imply that both your parents died when you were 17.
I don't think it does, no.
Okay. Well, your dad had died a long time before that.
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't lose your mom. Your mom was just in prison, in jail in Colorado.
I lost her.
Okay. But you don't think that that's at all misleading to get people to give you money?
Nope, it was for my friends and family so they could have like a source to send it to me.
You were likely to get more money from people if they thought your mom was dead as opposed to if your mom was dead.
No.
You also put in there that you've been having to provide for yourself a place to stay, transportation,
I think
and
that it is on the
and
redirect.
the necessities of everyday
Because
life.
he comes back and he's
Yes.
like, okay,
But you
about
said
that
that your aunt,
GoFundMe.
up until just
Remember?
before that, had provided you a car.
She would, at the beginning of all this, cared and would help me with things. And then she would, I think it was September or August, yeah, somewhere.
It was August of 2022 that your Aunt Brenda cut you off?
Yep, this is the part.
This is to your left there, Miss Hunt, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Thing too, like.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Jen.
Thank you.
No, babe, you're
Miss
doing
Hunt, I
just
want to
fine.
start with where
This is
Mr. Tony
important.
ended on this GoFundMe page.
Okay.
Tell the jury why you did this GoFundMe page.
When this all happened to me,
Thank you, Jen.
I was left with literally nothing. You would think that if my mom knew that she would do this, she would do something to, like, prepare her daughter or set her daughter up to not have parents or financial help. I had people in the beginning.
I just want to pause it here because I want to tell you a comment that I had saw on Twitter that said, the only time that she cries is for herself because her mom didn't set her up. I think she's just crying because she's on the spot over it, but it is interesting, to hear that perspective.
I kind of feel like, in Harley's defense, that Harley she started out the day very upset. Her voice was very shaky when she initially took the stand. Okay. And I think that as her testimony went on, she was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then they took the 20-minute break and she was still doing good. Then they had the whole hour and a half for lunch. But the most difficult testimony really, when, she's talking about the drive, that was difficult testimony. And I think it all culminated. And then the defense did their job. I mean, they had to grill her a little bit. It was going to be what it was going to be. But
I probably would have
think that
at that age.
I think it was I think she's crying for the totality of the situation. But I do think it does. I'm not going to lie, you guys. There is a part of me that the minute I yelled at the TV, I'm telling y'all right now, Alice the cat is 100% done with me. She is so done with me and this trial because I yell at the TV quite frequently. And I had to rewind it to make sure that I heard it. I heard and saw what I heard and I saw. It was just a flash.
What? Because it reminds you of
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, criminality. You are so right. That if I was her age, I just remember being that age, being selfish, emotional, moody. Yeah, it's just a different time. Let me see it.
They were very nice and they volunteered. I never asked people for anything, like I had said in my GoFundMe paragraph.
And
it's like I was thrown out into the world with nothing.
Oh, wonder what Leticia thinks hearing that.
there's some Kleenexes to your left there, Miss Hunt, if you'd like to use those. Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Let me ask
You
you
see?
this.
Do you see how quick that was?
You indicated on
fine.
cross-examination.
That's a completely different voice.
That it was
That is
August
the tiny
of-
glimpse
was it
of her
August?
mother that I see. That's it. It's just that real brief moment there. That's just the tiniest glimpse. And I think that probably comes from the fact that the kind of person that Leticia Stout seems to be. There's not really room for anybody else to have an emotion. And, you know, I was raised, my dad, if I was coming to him with a problem and I was crying, he dismissed me because he thought I was being emotional and therefore irrational, and therefore whatever my argument was should be dismissed. And I learned real young that if I was upset about anything, that I could be upset in private, but if I wanted my dad to hear me, then I had to not be that way. And I do think that that is part of the reason why she was real quick to turn it off, because there's no room for other people to have emotions around Leticia. I mean, look, she clocked a chick in the face with a full can of Monster. And then proceeded to be the victim. You're breaking my wrist. You've been threatening me all day. I just wanted to breathe. Blah 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 blah. You know. I don't put that in my brain. I've been trying to get that out. Remember, I said I wouldn't say it anymore.
Okay. If he doesn't say it in the next minute or two, you guys, what I'm talking about, I will grab it for the next time, but it's better on Icked Mails anyways, because see, look here on Icked Mails, you can see the full courtroom when this on the redirect, and on Law and Crime, you can only see to like right here. And you know what, Jen? I think that, like, I never noticed, but looking on my computer, Law and Crime is a lot blurrier than the other.
It is. This is what we're going to do tomorrow, Allie. Well, we'll talk after the show. And I'm going to figure out this dadgum WebEx, you guys. I promised everybody that I would stream it tomorrow morning, and I'm going to figure it out.
Yes, and I'll help you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll still help.
We'll figure it out together. We'll just not know together. How about that?
Yeah.
August of 2022 that your Aunt Brenda cut you off?
I think it was September, August, somewhere around then.
So was it after you came to Colorado to give this statement for a proffer and told us what you told this jury today?
Yeah, it was after.
Did she find out about it? Is that why she cut you off? I can rephrase.
You can rephrase, right?
Do you know why she cut you off?
There you go.
There was just multiple like reasonings that didn't really make sense. She just didn't agree.
Melissa.
You know.
Get it?
Like with the insurance of the car and things like that.
Needless to say, it was after you gave your statement is when she took your car back. The post about losing both parents. What did you mean?
I lost both my parents. It was like one day you wake up and your whole life changed. I lost my stepdad and I lost my mom and my brother. I lost everybody.
During that clip, when she says I lost my stepdad, Al looks over to his right. I have to get it from Icked Mail though, because you can see the full courtroom in that. But I found that really interesting because from the first time I ever read the GoFundMe, I always thought she was talking about Al. And I think that it's interesting that her voice breaks when talking about Al, not her mom, you know, when she says, because I lost my stepdad, her voice breaks. And then, you know, I lost my mom and Gannon too. I tried to find the GoFundMe. Like I found this article that talks about it I have it somewhere, but I just couldn't find it before the live. But I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Miss Bendy?
I mean, I feel bad for Harley. This isn't, I mean, listen, I think that Harley, if nothing else, I think that I do think that even though her mom was using her Facebook, I do think that Harley still had access to it. And I think that Harley is aware of the scrutiny that she faced in 2020, in 2021, and anytime this case comes up. And that I I do feel that she did, lose her family. And I do think that, bless your heart, Harley, it's a little naive for you to think that a person who would unalive, especially in the way that your mom did it, their stepchild, that they would have the forethought to think about setting their daughter up to live life without their parents. Bless your heart. That's a little naive, and that's a 20-year-old's thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. Many people in chat are saying Harley is a victim. Melissa says they're not mutually exclusive. She can be both victim and somewhat involved after the fact. Halo effect says, sound like Leticia's family cut Harley off when they realized she wasn't going to back her mother up. And I thought the same thing. I think that's kind of interesting. She quit getting help and stuff when she flew out to Colorado and told the truth because Leticia didn't want her to talk. I also thought it was interesting. She had a lawyer with her, and they even limited the questions Leticia's lawyer could ask her. They said that too.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just going to say this. I forget who she explained who set that up for her. But at the end of the day, that's what lawyers do. That's why you hire them there to protect their client. And I think that her lawyer was doing a good job. I think that
who got her the lawyer and who would set up.
I thought she said Lisa something.
Okay. Because to bring her lawyer to a meeting with, like, I can see bringing him to meet with the DA, with the cops, but even with the defense, I think that's
you never want to be in a room with a lawyer if you don't have a lawyer.
Okay. So they can talk to him for you kind of and do the, the legal talk and all of that, I guess. And that way it's not over your head. But I still think that's interesting that the way that went down. I don't know.
I did, Colleen, but YouTube gets real weird about how if you say it too many times or whatever. And so I've just trained myself to say unalived rather than the M word because, it's part of the deal.
They'd paint them in a guilty corner in a heartbeat. Hey, Aaron. I hope Al is still speaking to Harley. I guess he is. I don't know. Yeah, she definitely had blue on. Mm-hmm. Well, are you ready for a roast? Here's the
I am ready.
On the screen is exactly what the GoFundMe said. It said, anything helps, seeking $5,000 to buy a car. She said, I quote, lost both my parents a few years ago when I was 17 years old. And she struggled with coping with this and was forced to navigate her way through life alone. So I also saw today when looking just for extra information on what's going on with her right now. Remember, she just went on that trip with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
His TikTok, he posted today that he's single. Let me show you real quick before we go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he said when people are like, when somebody's just evil and you got to get them out of your life, you just got to get them out, basically. Let me show you because I liked it so I can pull it up really easily.
Well, let me just say this. That's awful timing, A. And B, I mean, you know how these kids do these days. It ain't real if it don't happen on social media. So if he posted that he's single on the tickety talks, then yikes on bikes.
It says, don't ever feel like you have to explain yourself. This world is full of evil. Protect your peace. Then he says, one day they'll understand. Then he has one right here that says, thinking it was another college fun day. Ever been single and all of a sudden things change overnight? It feels like, yeah, me either. But here we are. But we here. So,
but that's her, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think he's saying they broke up. Look, ever been single and all of a sudden things change overnight? And then he says in the other one, that was yesterday. And then this one was also yesterday. The one day they'll understand. It says, don't ever feel like you have to explain yourself. The world is full of evil. Protect your peace. So I don't know. Maybe they're not, but it kind of seems that way. It says, we ever been single and things change overnight. And then the world is full of evil. Protect your peace. So I don't know.
And he posted it today.
Yeah.
Knowing she was testifying.
I know.
Well, even if they are still together, halo effect, it ain't a good look. And if I were her, I'm not going to lie. I'm not as petty as, well, that's not true. I think I might actually be more petty now that I'm older. So from speaking at 20, I might have laughed it off and been more forgiving. At 46, blocked and ignored. I would be ghosting. I'd be pissed.
Change into not single with pics of her. Like the opposite. Wait, let me see. To not single. Let me go back to him. The other one from one day ago kind of just made me think that that's what he meant. Let me see.
Yes, Shamita, I'm familiar with your brand. Yes, petty is your favorite color, ma'am.
Oh, like maybe he was single before and things have changed and now he's not.
Yes.
Maybe that is what it means. But
maybe that's what it means.
Was also one day ago. So I don't know. It's still interesting. I'll be keeping an eye on it and let y'all know how it kind of goes. But that is probably right. I still wonder what this is about. The world is full of evil. Protect your peace. While your girlfriend is testifying at her mother's murder trial.
Maybe what he's saying in that moment is that's why he's not there, because he would like to be there to support her, but he cannot he can't be in the audience. He doesn't want to hear those. It's one thing to hear it from your girlfriend. It's another thing to sit in court and hear it. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps that's what he meant.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, she was just there. So I would think like.
This is the problem with apps like TikTok and YouTube chat and Twitter. You only get so many characters. So you can't be saying all the things you want. Who knows? I don't know what it means.
Hey, Lo, he's going to be a veterinarian. Maybe you're right. All the kids do remove them. But you know what? You're so right about that. Like anytime you don't get a lot of characters and it's just text, people will misunderstand it. More people will misunderstand you than will understand you on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come across the way that you mean for them to sometimes in those instances.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Avery, are we analyzing the boyfriend? I'm down for that. I love analyzing men.
I gotta go, Allie. I'm gonna start the live because we're super late, like 20 minutes,
Okay.
and I don't want people to. Okay, so okay. I'm gonna go. I'll see you over there in a minute. I gotta send you the link. Oh wait, I did yesterday.
Okay,
didn't I?
I'll be right
it's the
there.
Same one, right?
Okay.
All right, I'll see you in a minute.
Yeah, if not, I'll message you to get it again. But if it's the same one, I still have it, and I'll be right there.
All right, bye, you guys.
Yeah, I hope that you guys will come over to Bendy Lou's channel for the roast. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So the mods have dropped the link a few times. Here, let me do it again. Bendy, explanation, Bendy. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys. Oh my God, what a day. And tomorrow I'm sure we'll get a bunch more. It's been really, really interesting. But okay, I'll see you guys over on Bendy Lou's. Thank you all for being here. I love you guys. Appreciate you so much. Thank you to the mods. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Or no, actually, I'll see you in a little bit, in a few minutes. Bye.